Welcome to the Sin Bin Podcast, your home for all the news, analysis, and discussion around your Bloomington Bison.
Let's drop the puck and get started.
Welcome back to episode 14 of the Sin Bin Podcast. We have a lot more news on this episode.
This could be a real interesting episode.
Oh, it definitely could be. We have our special guest here currently biting my hand. But we'll see how the episode goes. Starting off, Mike, what is the biggest piece of Bison news that you've got today?
Well, I don't know if it was the biggest. I kind of opened up 3 different tabs. I want to start off with some of the more recent news. Bison bringing back Kohei Sato on a new contract, and I just kind of want to, first of all, get your thoughts on Sato. You're a little bit more tuned in with some of the work, so you maybe know Sato a little bit better than I do. But what do you think about that?
I'm glad he's coming back. I think he's definitely someone that meshed in well with the locker room that's there. And I'm just glad to see him back. I think it's just one of those ones that really, I don't know if he's going to be necessarily a play driver on his line necessarily, but is more of a complementary piece to those main play drivers. But you need those. It's something that I always didn't like when people said as like a downgrade to players, calling them complementary, because I don't think that's you need complementary players. Mm-hmm. You can't have 3 play drivers on a line. That's just not how it suits people. Some people need to play drive the line, be the person entering the zone with possession, the distributor, things like that. But there are complementary pieces that need to do things like, I don't know, putting the puck in the net. that can even be described sometimes as complementary. So, it's hard to really flesh out a definition just exactly. But I would say that Sato was one of the better complementary players to some of those higher-end pieces on the team last year, mm-hmm. and I really liked him on even something like that first line to be that complementary piece with Eddie and Lee on that first line. He actually played a little bit with those two, and I think that was a pretty solid line.
And I like the way you think, because, I mean, you could have a team of superstars, for ECHL standards, and of course, we're Bison fans, so we're biased. But if you had a whole team of Eddie Matsushimas, don't get me wrong, that would be a heck of a good team.
It'd be a great team.
Eddie's awesome. But you also need those players that can just fit into your role, like those third and fourth liners in the NHL. They know they're not stars, but they go in and they do their job. Whether they're a bruiser or they dish the puck out. You need those role players because.
Exactly.
Let the stars do their job.
If you want an NHL comparable, I'm thinking of the Maple Leafs as a team that is very big in their play drivers and superstars, but keeps giving away those complementary pieces that really make their team better. Like Michael Bunting complimented them very well, and they let him go. Zach Hyman, one of the best complementary players in the entire league, in the NHL, they gave him away. And it's shows the importance of those complementary players and people that really gel well with your top talent and can be that third piece. People underrate how important that is, both in the NHL and just hockey in general.
Well, and
so I think it's a good re-sign.
If you look at those type of players too, that are those kind of flying under the radar players, they're not going to show up on the stat sheet a ton. Sato had 22 games with the Bison last season, collecting 10 points. So, that's not actually horrible considering his scoring rate.
That's pretty good. That's about a half a point a game. That's
2 goals and 8 assists.
Very solid.
So he definitely dished the puck out more than he scored. But I would argue that an assist is just as good as a goal, in my opinion.
I think it depends on the assist. Obviously this is getting more into specifics, and we don't need to get into how much of a assist versus a goal matters. But I'm saying just looking at it from the outside, obviously sometimes a secondary assist isn't going to be as game-changing as a goal, but it's just hard to look at sometimes. Point is, I'm not taking any of those points away. Those are 10 points earned, and again, about a half a point a game player. That's a great player that you want in the middle of your lineup anyway, just from a production standpoint. So again, both having his production be pretty solid and having someone who can complement those higher end pieces, I think it's a very solid move. Bring him back, especially to what I think we talked about a little bit at the end of last year, or at the end of the weekly episodes, but consistency within the team is something that we desperately needed. I mean, we had some of the most different players on the team this year for the Bison. So, like, just having that consistency even, it's nice to bring anyone back at this point because I really want to see the team have that consistency.
Yep.
And really succeed in an area that was hard last year. So I do like just the continuity of it. Beyond just liking the player coming back, it's also good to just have that continuity.
And speaking of other contracts, we didn't get to talk about this because our last episode was about the playoffs and the Kelly Cup. But
uploaded a little bit late on my bad. We recorded that episode and then I got busy at the wrong time, and then the Kelly Cup playoffs ended pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and I realized that the playoffs were over by the time that I uploaded the video. I'm like, well, our prediction video didn't really mean much if
it's not
the
like
winner was already
Dylan
there.
has a new dog or anything. I mean,
yeah, that would be crazy if a new puppy was involved in why that happened. So sorry, it's my bad. But you gotta stop eating my fingers, Buster.
They came out with protected players.
Yes.
And I saw the list. I'll read off the list just real quick so we can get an idea. I'm sure most of you already have seen this, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth. But for the forwards, Boyer, Matsushima, Ott, Neal, Lockhart, Felix Denis, Jongmin Lee, Yamens, Robidoux, Gold, Marcin Kavics, Evans, Sam Sternshine, I think that's how you say that, Kohei Sato, Dustin Mans, Brett Budgel, and Blade Jenkins. Is there anybody on that list of the protected players that either surprises you or you're like, good, I expected them to be on there?
Let me pull up that protected list on here as well, but there's a couple ones that are just basic good I'm happy about, like things like Shane Ott. I wasn't sure if he would, because honestly I think he's good enough of a player that he might have gone for an AHL contract or something like that, because I mean this was a point per game player in the NCAA. Like this is yes, it was at Niagara, so it wasn't like he did this for Michigan, but that's no shade to Niagara. It's a very solid program, and being a point per game at that program is no feat to scoff at. So I honestly was worried he was going to go for an AHL contract, and seeing him come back to the Bison, I'm excited about that. Our young players specifically staying, those players like Lou Felix Denis, specifically Lou Felix Denis, glad he was coming back. Again, I would have been surprised if he didn't, but it's just one of those like peace of mind things, I guess. It's like, all right, like it's not I'm not expecting him to leave, but I'm glad because I feel like he's a very good younger player, and that's someone you can really build around for the future, if they decide to keep going that direction. So I like bringing him back. Obviously the big ones, and Lee coming back, love to see that. Eddie coming back, no offense, but I kind of expected that. Right. I mean, I feel like if Eddie's gonna come back for another year in the Coast, he's probably gonna come back for the Bison.
I feel like if he was not on that list, I feel like, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys, but our fan base might have crashed out.
Maybe a little bit.
Like complete meltdown if he was not on that list.
Might have. They might have, because the Eddie love in the fan base is real for sure.
It is.
He's the captain, so
100%.
I feel like, I mean, I could be just conjecture, but I feel like if Eddie's coming back, he's probably coming back to the Bison. So, and I definitely feel like Eddie's got at least a few more good years in him. So I see him re-signing with the Bison.
100%.
But so yeah, that makes sense under the protected list. Honestly, I thought someone like Budgel was going to be going to an AHL contract too, because I know he was up with the what was it, the Iowa Wild, I think, when he was on the Heartlanders the year before. So honestly, I was worried he might have gone for an AHL deal or something like that. Same thing with Ott. I'm glad he's not, though. And I hope we get a deal re-sign with him, because I mean, obviously there's a lot of good players on that list, but just specifically those guys I was excited to see on the list.
I really like. I didn't mention the goaltenders, but Kaskasua and Sinclair are on that list too.
Yeah.
Mark freaking Sinclair.
So I'm happy to see Kaz back. If it seems that's the direction the team wants to take with their starting goaltender, I think. I mean, I could be wrong, and I think that's a pretty solid one. He has plenty of experience. I think he's a good goaltender, and he proved it in some of those games where he was forced into last year.
Yes.
I think he definitely performed well. I think remember that. There's specifically those games where he had one rough game and then just lights out for the next weekend, and it was a really important weekend too. So I think that was the Indy weekend that he shut it up, but I could be wrong. But I if that's the direction the team's going, I think it's pretty solid. I like Kaz in net, and then with Sinclair, my guess is he stays in the Liga.
Yeah,
That's my guess. They're just retaining his rights so that if he does come back to North America and plays in the ECHL again, that we still reserve his rights.
I'm just hoping.
I mean,
I'm just like super over hoping that he comes back, but he probably won't.
He probably will not. He was goated in net to start the year. He was our all-star.
So good.
Yeah, definitely stole a few games for us. Sad to see him go, but
no shade to Kaskasua. I personally I love Kaskasua too.
No, we giving another player props doesn't necessarily indicate shade to another. No. I mean, it's
check out his YouTube channel, by the way.
Oh
too.
yeah,
Kaskasua's YouTube
got
channel is
some
awesome.
Yeah, no, he's got some good videos. I watched his Bison one, and that's pretty good. So
love it.
Definitely check those out. Other news that you were thinking of for the Bison, other than just the protected list?
Yeah. Well, qualifying offers. That's something else we can get into, I guess.
Yeah.
Forwards: Chongmin Lee, Brandon Yamens, Mikhail Robidoux, Brett Budgel, Connor Lockhart, defenseman Zach Hoffman, and goaltender Mark Sinclair.
Now, Hoffman was another one I was surprised by because he was another player that went overseas. And I don't know. I mean, with Sinclair, at least you could it felt like you could kind of see it coming because of how good he was playing.
Right.
And you're saying he's either going to get called up or he's going to take something else just because he's playing that well for the Bison in net. Again, no shade to any of the other goalies. He was just our all-star last year. Like, he was ridiculous in that first half of the season. I don't know. Like, with Hoffman, though, it really kind of seemed more out of the blue. I mean, at least for me. Like, I can just be, again, this could just be conjecture, in my opinion. But I really thought that the Zach Hoffman one was way more out of left field. Like, I remember seeing the tweet on that. I'm like, oh, really? Because he had just gotten traded from Rapid City. And that really kind of messed us up down the road because we had one of the strongest defenses, and then we traded a few depth players for Zach Hoffman in the Rapid City Rush trade, and it was a really good trade, and I was happy to have Hoffman on the team, and then he just leaves. And that kind of helped our defensive woes at the end of there. So if he comes back, I'll be excited, and our defense is going to be a lot better. I just feel like with how out of the blue it was, at least for me, I didn't see him coming back. But I'm also not in that locker room, so I can't say for sure why he did it or if he just thought he had a better opportunity or what was going on. So I just felt it was out of the blue, so I didn't see him coming back. Compared to a Sinclair, which seemed more of like, there's a twinkle of hope maybe that he wants to come back to North America and we can get him back here, but I mean, likely not, but I don't know. both of those are I think long shots, but I'm not going to be upset if I'm wrong, and I will gladly be wrong. So please prove me wrong.
Now,
I will gladly be wrong.
We were talking about Kaskasuo earlier, and you kind of mentioned like if that's the direction that the team wants to go. I want to ask a really important question because it was a big change in the organization. I think we mentioned it on the podcast last time, but Andy Zilch is now the president.
We did.
If you didn't know that
last time.
But I want to get your opinion on that because you know Andy pretty well. What kind of changes do you see in the organization now that he is the head person, so to speak? And in my opinion, I think he's going to help the hockey side of things. What is your kind of view in that, and where do you think he's going to take this team?
Well, I don't want to speak for him because I don't know what exactly he's thinking. So all of this is just my opinion on what he might do. But knowing Andy, he's pretty level-headed and knows hockey well enough that I think we see just more of the obvious being done. I don't know exactly how to elaborate on that, but I'm excited. Honestly, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, so I'm not exactly sure what direction Andy will go for, but I'm excited to see it. And again, I think, because I had talked to him a little bit, I think, about it as well, about the consistency comparatively to last year, and especially just as a play-by-play guy, as someone who is in that booth. He has the lineups. He's the one writing down those lineups before every game. He's watching the line changes and seeing specifically in warm-ups the line drives they do on the net, watching those to see the exact lineups and figuring out exactly who he is and talking to the coach and stuff like that. Like, even just from his media side that he did, he's so close to the team and he knows, I'm sure, this team much better than like I do. Like, being that media guy, being that play-by-play person, you're in tune with what the team is doing to such a high degree that I feel like him now moving into a higher role, he's going to have that more intimate knowledge that's going to be really useful. So again, I don't know what that is, so I can't say specifically what he's going to do.
Yep. But
I feel like just the knowledge that he gained over the past year, he knows this team, he knows this coach, he knows people very well, and he'll likely make some pretty smart decisions, is my guess. But I can't say anything for sure.
I would absolutely agree with that. One more thing before I forget, because I think it's always fun to do this. Let's do I don't know if I'd say way too early, but let's do a early prediction.
Okay.
For the Bison season. Where do they finish?
Season prediction?
And if they go in the playoffs, how far are they going?
All right, early season prediction. Well, this is, again, way too early, but let me look at... Oh, hi, dog. I'm just thinking about their division. I don't see Iowa getting that much better. Toledo's still going to be ridiculous, but Indy might get pretty good because of just Chicago. They have an influx of prospects that are starting to go into the league, which means that Rockford's going to be jam-packed. Like, I just know a ton of forwards that got signed to like AHL deals, and I'm thinking like there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of forwards specifically that the Hawks are bringing in from stuff, and especially at the end of the year they're going to bring other forwards from college and stuff like that. And I'm like, they already have a jam-packed AHL and NHL with young talent right now, which means a lot of those guys, my guess, on AHL contracts are going to be sent down to the Fuel. So the Fuel are probably going to be pretty darn formidable this year, is my guess. So I see them and Toledo likely being near the top. Fort Wayne is always pretty formidable as well, so you're probably going to be against them. I think the Bison can definitely grab and fight for some of those like third or fourth division spots.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to be better than the Walleye, and that's hard to say
That's a
before
pipe
the
dream.
season, but they did just go to the Kelly Cup final. So, I mean, they did it in 22 as well, I think. So, yeah, it's a darn good team. It's going to be hard to put away. So I think between the Fuel, specifically between the Fuel, the Comets, and then the Bison, they're going to be fighting for some of those second, third, fourth spots. You'll notice I'm not mentioning the Heartlanders because I don't think they're going to be that good. The Cyclones, I mean, I don't.
To
really
be
think.
fair, though, that finish, if you go back to last season, of the bottom 3 teams that were fighting for that 4th playoff spot, like, that was insanely close. I mean, I don't think that the Bison or the Cyclones particularly performed very well at the end of the season, and I don't think either of them really deserved to be in the playoffs last year, to be honest, if you look back at their performances at the end of the year. And I agree with you. I don't think that the Cyclones are going to be a team that are going to be, something to watch out for, but I think it could turn out to be similar to last year, if you want my opinion.
Gotcha. Well, I'm looking at it, and I'm realizing that the NHL affiliate for the Cyclones is the Maple Leafs. That's not a team right now that you want to be your NHL partner. Because I'm thinking, if you're thinking about this from an NHL perspective, again, as someone who watches all 3 leagues constantly, you want a NHL team that's rebuilding, because then they have a ton of young talent. What did I just say with the Indy Fuel? It's exactly what's going on with the Blackhawks. They have a ton of young prospects and talent, and they are going to flood into the AHL specifically before they make it to the NHL. So even though the Blackhawks didn't sign a ton of people, they did sign one person, Tomarski, who's probably going to be, I think that's how you say it, probably going to be in the AHL. If he's not in the NHL, but again, that takes up a spot. So one of the young guys is going to be in the A, not even counting the people, again, coming from college, all these other people. Yes, are some of the kids probably just going to get scratched maybe in the AHL? Yes, but there's only so many spots open as well. So I feel like you want a team that's young, has a ton of prospects, some of the best prospects in the league, so you can flood in and really overcrowd your farm system so that they get sent down to the ECHL.
Yep.
The Marlies and the Leafs, the Leafs are in hardcore win now mode. So the Cyclones, I mean the Marlies are even they're a very good AHL team just in general, like a team that seems to be pretty good in the AHL even when they don't have a lot of prospects. But that means that the Marlies are also always trying to compete. So they're always trying to bring people up as well. So you have 2 teams above you that are both pretty much in win now mode without any prospects to help it out. So the Cyclones, I don't see being that great. No offense. It's just that getting those NHL prospects are a big difference maker. Think of what Peretz did. He was an NHL affiliated prospect. Like they are sometimes, not always, again, some of the best players are players that are just on ECHL contracts, but I'm saying sometimes that can be the difference maker, is one of those NHL level prospects that changes things. But
think about the Bison last year. I mean, how many times did we talk about the Bison losing players to the Hartford Wolfpack?
Yep.
Especially at the end of the year when we were trying to make that playoff push.
Oh,
I mean, we were losing
Berger.
I mean,
we were talking about the yo-yo.
It seemed like
Berger
you would go to
yo-yo.
bed one night and he was in Bloomington. You'd wake up and he's in Hartford.
Yep.
And then the next day he's back in Bloomington. I mean,
it'd be in the same day. He got sent down. I think he got sent to 3 different places in one day. Like
it is
up, down, up.
Absolutely insane the amount of movement that can happen at the lower levels. But it is what it is. We can't really control it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, they're going to have to build the best roster that they can.
Also a little unfortunate because the Rangers also are not the greatest. But the thing is, they did actually sign, I remember talking to you last year, they signed Noah Laba, I think is how you say it, one of their college prospects, and I think Gabe Perreault is coming over this year. I'd be surprised. My guess is he's going to fight for a spot out at training camp, but I think he'll make it. So that's another prospect in the league, again, sending more people down. Maybe we get a good AHL player, something like that. I don't know, but I can hope.
Hashtag give us Rempy.
Give us Rempy. Yeah, no, that'd be fun. Let me, send down Matt Rempy. That'd be fun. Honestly.
If you don't know who that is, go look him up because he's insane.
Yeah,
and I love the guy, but that's has nothing to do with this.
He's a hitting freak
as of right now. Yeah, he likes to fight and hit. So if you like that, go watch him.
Oh yeah. But beyond that, yeah. So the Rangers are kind of on that, but the Red Wings are another team that's stockpiling talent, so it's going to be hard to beat Toledo still.
Our division is just, I feel like besides
Minnesota
maybe
really...
the Cyclones, our division is just so strong.
We have a pretty darn good division. I think we really saw that last year with how far the Walleye went because, I mean, yes, you could say it's a one-team show with the Walleye, but there are other teams that really pushed them, like the Whalers or the Heartlanders pushed the Comets to 7, and the Comets took the Walleye to 6, I think. Right? Or was it to 5? I can't remember this past year's playoffs, but I think it was to 6.
Double check that for us.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
We'll figure it out though. But yeah.
Either way, point is it's a strong division, and I said not even the Cyclones, but if you look at the finish of the playoffs last year, any of the bottom 3 teams could have stole that 4th playoff spot.
Oh no, I mean all of those teams. I was shocked at the end of the year when I saw that the Bison ended up finishing last in the division. I was like, we were 4th in the division for like the entire second half of the year. Like we just stumbled at the very end, and then every other team jumped us. I was like, what?
If you can go from 4th to last in the matter of like literally 2 or 3 games.
No, 1 week. It was ridiculous.
You know that you have a close division. So
yeah.
I think it'll be interesting. Hopefully they will construct a roster that will compete and get the playoff spot this year.
I'm excited. Again, I'm excited to just see that consistency. So bring in a solid amount of those guys back. I feel like, I mean, even just thinking of your lineup, I think it's very telling that they brought back Sato very early because, again, as I said, he's one of those more complimentary guys, and that, as I've already said, that's not an insult, but I think like what that means, because you're getting the complimentary guy back. That likely means Trongman, Lee, and Matsushima are back because, I mean, those are the guys that he complimented, or like at least was with. I think he got to the end of the year. I'm pretty sure Sato was on that first line for a solid amount of that year. You can fact check me, but I know Gould was up there for a little bit too, stuff like that. But I feel like it's just very telling that probably means those guys are back, and then Budgel and Felix Denis and Shane Ott, hopefully those guys, as they're all as they were all protected, hopefully we bring all of those guys back, and your forwards are kind of more set. You have to then look back at your defense, which is why I think it was very up in the air with the Zach Hoffman one, because if he's coming back, that vastly changes your defense, because he is a top 4 for sure. I think it entirely depends. The defense is going to be the thing you're going to want to look the most at, because that was the one that's changed the most. Our biggest mainstay last year was Jake Murray, and he's gone. So you lose Jake Murray on the blue line. You likely lose Bryce Montgomery as well, because I think that Carolina might be signing their NHL rights with a different ECHL team. I'm not sure, but we're definitely not getting Peretz, and I think likely Bryce Montgomery is gone as well. I'm not sure, but I mean, your defense is looking very barren compared to last year. So that's going to be the big sticking point, because you have a lot of good players, and I think you can really set up your forwards to be a more, again, as we talked about last year, more depth-oriented team, but still a good team on your forwards. But you need, for a depth-oriented team, you need a very strong back end, and right now it is whittled away because of what happened. So I think defense is going to be the big thing that you're looking for in free agency, because again, Kaskisuo stole games. He has NHL experience with the Bruins. He is one of the better goalies you can really get to lock in for your franchise. So I'm fine if that's the direction that we're taking and we're locking him in as our goaltender, and the possibility of Sinclair returning. That's fine with me. I like the continuity. And then I like the continuity with a lot of the forwards as well. That means back end, the defense is going to be the big thing that you look at to bring in some more players. You still have a lot of solid ones. You have a lot of guys on the back end I like still, but probably going to need to bring some in, because I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily want to see Renat Dadajanov play 50 games next year.
Yeah.
This is no shade to Dadajanov.
No, I think you make a very good point. And last year we talked about the defense as probably the second strongest, in my opinion, at least, second strongest thing behind the goaltending. I think our goaltending situation is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Coming into the year, but I'm sure they'll get that all figured out. But I think that'll wrap up this episode of the Sin Bin Podcast. Lots to talk about. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, go to Spotify. Help us grow this thing as the Bison grow this team into a Kelly Cup winning team, because I know they're going to do it. Maybe that's just extra hope, but I'm going to say it anyways. They're going to do it. Anyways, have a great day. Subscribe. We love you all.
Oh, before we go, do we have a question of the month? Because we always had a question of the week.
That's right.
I think we forgot it last. I think we forgot it last month now. So, question of the month. What's our question going to be? We know this episode was a little more rambly, but it's also because there's just less. I mean, there's more to talk about this episode for sure. We finally started things over the offseason. The playoffs have ended, but obviously there isn't as much to talk about as there is during the regular season. So it's still a little bit rambly, but
this is a little early.
I think that leads into our question.
I got a question.
Yeah,
but it's a little early for it. But I would like to know your predictions for the biggest offensive contributor for the season.
So highest point total, like who's going to score the most?
Yes. Point leader on offense for the upcoming season. Let us know down below.
Can we make our predictions for that then?
Let's go.
All right. I think it's going to be Chongmin Lee for sure. I don't care. I don't care if I'm a sucker for that. Dude, it's for sure. He's just going to, I mean, you saw how good he was last year. He's so clutch last year. He
saved us in a lot of those games.
He was so clutch last year. I'm saying, I feel like, with how good he did in the Asia League last year, ton of stuff like that. I think he's just gonna. I think he's gonna go off. I think he's gonna take another step, and he's just gonna become the guy. Like how Eddie was kind of the guy until Chongmin Lee started dominating in the latter half. I think he's going to really step into that role, and he's going to be the guy, because he's the fan favorite. He's likely and we're talking about pure hands, probably the most skilled. I think he's going to take another step, and he's going to be even better.
I'll copy you, and I'll go with another fan favorite, because I think he's going to go back to back. Mr. Eddie.
Mr. Eddie, yup.
Mr. Eddie, we love you. I think he's going to do it. He's just an absolute beast. And we'll see, though. We'll see. So, yeah, let us know.
Before we go, though, actually, there's one signing that we didn't talk about.
Take number 3.
That I forgot to mention that I want to talk about. I'm going to butcher this. But Mark Kalinikovas?
I have no clue how you say it.
I think it's Kalinikovas. All right. Mark Kalinikovas. I'm going to say that. I'm sure I'm butchering that. But played in the Poland League last year. And I looked it up. And that league is probably slightly better than the Asia League. It's probably on a similar level, honestly. And he was about a point per game in that league. comparatively, like when Chung-Min Lee came out, he was like 46 points in 30 games out of the Asia League. So I'm not saying that this guy is going to be as good because of the players that they are. But he is a skilled player who did put up a point per game in a men's league that is pretty solid and around the same level that Chung-Min Lee played in the year before he played for the Bison.
Is this guy saying we're going to have 2 Chung-Min Lees?
No, but I am saying that if there's anybody who would be that guy this year, this is the first signing of the year, and I think it was pretty good. He was he had ranked 3rd on his team last year in goals. Like, I think this guy could definitely be someone you already have your top line pretty much set now, but I'm saying someone you throw with other skill players on the second line, someone with like Brett Budgel. I'm saying if your top line is Sato, Matsushima, and Lee, maybe your second line is you keep your third line as Ott, Denis, and who's the third one on that line? I keep forgetting. Lockhart. Sorry, Lockhart, Denis, and you keep that as your third line, and your second line becomes Budgel, maybe somebody from the AHL, and this guy. That could provide some pretty darn good offense on 3 separate lines, and then you can make your fourth line more of the grinder line, the hit line, the one that's gonna beat the crap out of Blotchman. So I think that's a really good signing to start off with, and I think it really does round our forward group really well, especially with now us bringing back Sato and trying to keep that consistency with the rest of the forward group. I like that addition a lot. So just if you see a player start to rise on the team, start to be one of the best players whose name is incredibly hard to pronounce, it starts with a K. That's what I'm talking about.
That's him.
Kalian Kovas, maybe.
We do our best.
Yes,
we do our best.
I do try.
But he'll show up on the score sheet, so it won't matter how we say his name.
Exactly, he'll definitely
produce.
show up. He'll figure his way. But that should be it for the episode today. Again, remember our question. Now that I've been talking over it for 3 minutes.
Most point producer on offense for the Bison going into next year. Who
you mean
will
highest?
Win? Yeah, most point producer.
Oh, I thought
highest?
You said lowest.
Oh, no. Most point producer on offense. Dylan, shut up. We need to end this episode. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find us on Spotify. Share it with your friends. Goodbye.